comments this evening, and what I've called it is the majority opinion. As she said, I'm the president and founder of the Utah League of Independent Voters, and I'm an Army veteran of the Iraq War. Yes, the majority in Utah are independents. 51.5% of registered voters are unaffiliated with any party. We comprise a force of over 775,000 registered voters. Contrast that with just 38% registered Republicans and 8.8% Democrat voter registration. A Wikipedia article on gerrymandering asserts that a prominent outcome of gerrymandering is low voter turnout. Republicans hold 74% of the legislative seats, while voter turnout last November was just 14% in Utah. An unfortunate reality exists as a result of gerrymandering in Utah and elsewhere. Before voters even turn out, the result of the election has already been determined by manipulation of voter district boundaries. Case in point, there is very little turnover for incumbent positions. Also, despite having just 8.8% of registered voters, Democrats control 26% of the legislature, nearly 3 times the proportion of voters registered as Democrats. The net effect of partisan redistricting is that the legislators select the voters rather than the voters selecting the legislators. The basic question is whether the election process itself should be organized around the political parties or around the people. I say it should be organized around the people. That's why I'm supporting the Fair Boundaries petition to put an initiative on the ballot for an independent redistricting commission. I have heard rumblings that this Fair Boundaries petition effort is a masqueraded Democrat power grab. That's not true, and if done right, it shouldn't and would not turn out that way. So let me propose a blind statistical test. If you have 9 blue socks, 38 red socks, and 52 purple socks, and I'll throw in 1 white, 1 black, and 1 green, what is the probability of picking 10 socks in the distribution 3 blue, 7 red, and 0 purple? If this were to happen repeatedly, and it has, you have a statistical bias. To be fair, the 3 likely statistical biases are: 1, legislative districts are gerrymandered, so the proportion of legislatures elected is not a representative sample of the people. 2, we have undue national party influence on local and state elections. And we're very concerned about that, and that needs to stop. And 3, none of the 52 purple socks, or potential independent candidates, have run for public office. But have no fear, the times are changing. Purple socks will soon be commonplace. Nationally, voter identification for Republicans has slipped to 22%, Democrats 38%, and a statistical tie 39% with independents. I grew up in a politically active home in Sandy. My parents, we hosted caucuses and primaries at the house. My mother was an election judge. I remember people showing up to the house to register to vote. We'd hang the flag out on particular days. But just to kind of feel the water, I asked my dad one day, I said, "Dad, what do you think you could get 100 people to sign this petition when it becomes available?" And he kind of laughed. He thought maybe I was joking, like that would be some hard thing to do. He said, "Oh, that'd be easy. Just 100? I can do many more." There are hundreds of Utah citizens willing and able to get dozens of signatures. General George Patton observed that a good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. I recently overheard a legislator speculate that the League of Cities and Towns, who under this plan will appoint a portion of the independent commission, is a leftist organization. As I understand it, the recent or current chairman of the League of Cities and Towns is Fred Panucci, the mayor of Syracuse, where I reside, and quite a conservative. A good plan today or a perfect plan tomorrow, either would be better than the flawed plan we currently have in use. And here I want to interject too that for these public figures to throw out labels on ideological lines as a veteran is somewhat disturbing to me. How somebody feels is not a good reason to incite fear against letting the people decide something. If they are objected to it, then man up and say, "I don't like it." Don't, okay? That's just part of my Army culture. Allowing the legislature to draw their own districts is an irrefutable conflict of interest. For one, it is doubtful that the proposed plans will be developed in committee. out in the open, but rather in partisan backrooms far before the short 2011 legislative session commences. Black's Law Dictionary defines a conflict of interest as a clash between public interest and the private pecuniary interests of the individual concerned. I had the privilege Tuesday of participating in a conference call with independent Mayor Mike Bloomberg. To my surprise, his first topic was the need nationally to move on local levels to independent redistricting. He elaborated that the statesman's art and duty of compromise is gone, washed away in a chasm of two-party gridlock, mistrust, and petty singular interests. Several states have similar measures for independent commissions right now, including California, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, and likely many more. Federal legislation has been introduced at least twice along these lines, but, big surprise, defeated on both occasions. In closing, this whole issue reminds me of the fox, the legislature, reassuring the farmer, the people, that he is best suited to tend the chickens, the voting districts. The fox naturally thinks he is supremely qualified, duly elected, and an expert in both geography and sociology. As the voice of Utah independence to the fox, the answer is still no. You may not tend the chickens or draw the districts yourselves. Let the people decide.